Dean?
Got one in the woods, 6'7", laid up, had to chase him, ran him down. Pretty old bull, St. Mark.
Man, what a bull.
Tell you what, he's a fast walker too. I had to run as hard as I could run to catch him, so.
Well, I heard you shoot. What is about 7:10?
Yeah, about 10 after 7. I came in, went down the property line this morning, way before daylight. You know, you dropped me off up there. As soon as I crossed the fence and got in, it was, I had cows and bulls everywhere. The whole meadow out here was just full of elk. And as soon as I crossed the fence, I had to just sit down. I couldn't move because I had elk all around me, and it was still dark. And I sat there for probably 30 minutes. And finally some of the cows walked off, and I was able to move a little bit, get up behind a tree, big juniper tree. I stayed in there for a long time. I had elk bugling all up through here all morning, and I was sitting there thinking, gosh, they've already passed. They got by me, went up to the timber, and I'm going to end up missing them. But sat in there, and this bull kept bugling down below me all morning, and I just sat there and waited and waited and waited. Kind of wait to see what was going to happen with it. Finally, he started moving up this way, and I figured our last day, hey, I was going to give it a shot. So
did you go for it?
I went for it. I started walking real fast, coming up through, going from tree to tree, trying to keep from being seen, because I had 3 or 4 elk bugling coming up this way. I just kept coming, and finally he was getting ahead of me, coming through, and so I dropped my backpack, and so I was going to make a run for it. So I ran probably 200, 300 yards coming through, running from tree to tree, and I was watching him, and he had it was either a 4x4 or a 5x5 with him, and a big spike. And they were coming across at an angle, and they'd get behind a tree, and I'd run, and then I'd stop if they walked through an opening, and then they'd get behind another tree, and I'd run again. And I jumped a 4x4 coming through here, spooked him. He ran back up towards the timber. I think it scared him, me about as bad as it did him. But finally got up here. I could see the spike. I could see either 4x4 or 5x5 that was with him. But I couldn't see him. I'd lost him. And I kept looking, and I finally saw just the tips of his rack up over a tree, standing there walking up over it. So I eased on up a little bit further, and I lost him again up in here. And I just stopped where I was and just stood there. And he bugled up here, so I knew I was getting real close, probably 100 yards, 75 to 100 yards. And so I came on up a little bit further and got up, and I could see him, but he was behind trees. And I waited till he turned his head and ran another 20 yards. And right when I ran that 20 yards, as soon as I got to behind some pine trees, he stepped out between pines. I had a wind about that big to shoot through, and so I just dropped to one knee and shot. And he traveled about 35, 40 yards. Went down right here.
What'd you shoot him with?
50 caliber Savage muzzleloader. So
did the trick, didn't he?
Did the trick.
I'll tell you
35, 40 yards, and it put him down.
Did you get your heart racing?
I think it was between running and the adrenaline too of watching those elk and me trying to beat them up here.
I was going to ask you, was the running harder on you or the excitement?
I think the excitement was more. I think the running was pretty easy.
I'll tell you what. Let's go up there and check out this beast.
Take a look. I'll tell you what, this is my first elk hunt, and this is the most fun I've ever had. Nothing compares. So,
what about deer hunting? Is this better than deer hunting?
No comparison.
Are you glad you passed up that 5x5 the other day?
I am. I worried about that for 2 days. Thought I made a big mistake.
Yeah.
But turned out all right.
Yeah. Let's go up there and look at this.
Let's take a look. Will that work? Of course, we've seen been in elk every day, and just finally, hey, got lucky and focused in on one. And I must have had 15 bulls bugling this morning. Evidently, there was a hot cow in here or something, because this whole meadow, all the way as far as you could go and see, we had bulls bugling just wide open all morning. And it's kind of confusing because you'd have a couple out in front of you bugling. You'd have some up to the left up in here. And then we had, like I say, this bull hung in down there for a long time. And then those two smaller bulls got with him and they bugled all the way up. And it was hard to pick one and choose which one you would go after. But he just had a big deep sound to him. And then when I saw probably from here up over top of that bush, and that bush was so tall, when the 4x4 or 5x5 was with him passed it, I couldn't see his, but I saw his tips up over it, and I said, I knew that was the bull. So I had no idea he was this big.
And how far did you run after you shot him?
He's about 30, 35 yards is all he went.
And how many did you hear bugling this morning?
Ed, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think I counted close to 15 different bulls bugling.
No, I believe you, because where I was, there's just about that many. I wasn't on them close enough to get a shot. But what do you think about this place? Pretty good place to hunt.
I'll tell you what, it's great. I know you and I were talking last night, whether we killed or not, or harvested something. It's been a great week. We've been in elk all week.
Yeah.
Beautiful land, and definitely full of elk.
Yeah.
Because we've been in elk every morning, every afternoon, just everywhere. So.
You know, if two rookie elk hunters like me and you can get one like this, they got to be pretty.
Well, this is my first, and I think Mark set the bar pretty high now.
Well, I like this one. I like this one. It's a shame the big one got away.